My wrestling career was started in Florida. I grew up in Florida. I used to watch wrestling at the Fort Homer Hesterly Armory and go to the Sportatorium to watch the TV tapings. Eddie Graham was running the territory back then. My older sister took me to wrestling my first time and sat up in the balcony and loved it. Not even knowing at that time, Hulk Hogan was in the front row. That was a big wrestling fan. Through the course of high school, we all went to the same school. Hulk Hogan went to the same school with my older sisters. He was a musician. I got to know who he was. Eventually met him, and then actually started working out. He was 3 years older than me, so I was the young kid, and they used to pick on me all the time. Say, hey, we're all gonna meet up at 9 o'clock and go to the beach. Well, I'd show up at 9 o'clock, but they would get there at 8 o'clock and leave. And then all be laughing at me and everything. And here I'd come later on, somehow show up. I was like the redheaded stepchild that nobody wanted around. But, I was working out. I was small, 6 foot tall, 165 pounds. Definitely not wrestling material, but a good athlete. I was interested in getting, lifting weights and getting bigger. And basically, after hanging out and training with Hulk for a couple of years with his friends, he was a musician. The wrestlers all used to come to the bars he played in. He had a crazy good band. And they said, hey, you're big. He's 6'6". You gotta be a wrestler. Anything about wrestling? He said, I love wrestling, but never thought about wrestling. He said, you should think about wrestling. We could hook you up and go in there. So he did. He went in. The guy who trained for Eddie Graham was Hiro Matsuda, an Olympic medalist. And first day in, they exercised him for about an hour and a half. Calisthenics, push-ups, and he till the point where his tongue was hanging out, he could barely even stand up. And then Hero took him in the ring. The first thing he did was post his ankle, break his ankle, break his leg. So basically, they were just discouraging him. He was a long-haired musician, not the kind of wrestler that they were looking for. They were looking for high school, college, somebody with a background in amateur wrestling and everything. And so he wound up, having to recover and going back. And he went back to try to complete the school, and they trained him. I don't know if Brian Blair was involved in that training at that time, but they had their guys that trained. And he finished their training school, and they basically would book him in Miami and Tallahassee. And those towns were 250 miles away. In those days, the pay was like $25. So you couldn't even make enough to cover your gas money to go up there and back. And that was their way of discouraging them, telling them they didn't want him in the business. And so he's tried seeking alternate means. He called a friend of his that owned a bar in Cocoa Beach. The guy said, if you ever want to do something, let me know. Give me a call. So he called the guy. And he said, yeah, come on over. You can work at the bar. We'll make a little gym so you can train and get ready and then try again. So he went to all his best friends, and tried to get somebody to go with him. And nobody was willing to quit their cushy jobs with the city or, with benefits and insurance and all that to go be a wrestler on the road. Are you kidding me? It's like, and I was 18, probably just out of high school, just starting junior college and working a dead-end job. And he finally, I was the last one on the list, and called me up and said, yeah, I'll go for it. And so, boom, off to Cocoa Beach we go. We trained him for 18 months, 6 days a week, twice a day, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours at night. He went from 255 to 325 pounds. And I went from a basically 165 pound, 6'1" guy to 250 pounds. And he knew Bob Root, who was a wrestler, and called Bob. Bob called Jim Barnett from the Atlanta territory. The next thing you know, we were in front of a bunch of management people, and they took one look at it. Hulk at 6'6", me at 6'4". Their eyeballs were spinning around their heads. They were like, "Oh God, this is the greatest thing ever." And then that was the birth of the Boulder brothers. Terry and Eddie Boulder was born. They sent us off to Pensacola, Florida, for the force to begin our really more intensive training. That's where I was really started training. He had already had some training, but and that's where we started. That was the start.
Was Ole Anderson the booker in Atlanta at that time?
Yes, he was.
I've heard that he didn't think like there was too big of a role for Hulk to do at that time. Was there any?
He didn't. I mean, that's the main reason why we didn't get a break. Bring us right into Atlanta. Why not bring us right into Atlanta, right there, and train us? And you know, there was a lot of what's the word? When you don't like people who aren't like you.
Right. Resentment, I guess, because you guys had the physiques and he was more of a gruff feel.
We were a couple of long hair, you know, physique type guys. Ole Anderson, big, fat, tubby looking, old time wrestler looking guy. And we were new generation, the next generation of wrestlers who would begin to come along. And there was a lot of resentment. Those guys didn't want to see us, taking any of their money. So they didn't help a bit.
The Honky Tonk Man has told me that when you were in that next territory area, I think you said Pensacola.
This was the first, Memphis.
Memphis. Were you rooming with Honky Tonk Man at one of those points? He had mentioned that him and his partner had taken you and Hulk as roommates to help you guys out at one point in your younger days.
Roommates. We might have stayed with him a couple times when we first came in to visit, so we really found our thing. At that time, in Pensacola, we had a van, a custom van that we picked up from the bar owner in Florida. It was a nice custom van, and basically that's what we lived in Pensacola. We lived in our van, made enough money to buy gas and eat, and buddy, let me tell you, we ate a lot, It's 325 pound, both of us were benching in excess of 450, squatting 500. We do 2 1/4 military presses, seated, pretty strong couple of young lads there. And we ate a lot. And when we went to Memphis for the Jarretts, for Jerry Jarrett, and then that's when they began to start calling Terry the Hulk. They shot this little venue, little thing of him, and started his feud, came up, and big, tan, gigantic Terry the Hulk and stuff. And I think we lived in Nashville. Most of the other guys, no, we didn't live in Nashville. Most of the guys lived in Nashville. We lived in Memphis, because I remember we were not far from where the Elvis estate was.
Okay.
We lived in a Days Inn, and just a hotel room basically with 2 beds in it, and that's when we lived. That was our housing at that time. And,
I've read that Hulk was saying in the past in some of his books that that's when you guys started to make a little bit of money in the Memphis days and started to get over.
Oh yeah, we had they were selling out. A couple of new, young, exciting stallions. The people were excited. Jerry Lawler was the top guys in there, and he had his clique. He was, in a way, probably excited to see blood coming in, but on the other hand, not wanting to see these young guys come in taking his money. Because, he's had his little deal there, and his main event, he had his deal. He's making, guys like us threatened him. You think it would be a good thing that it's going to bring us all up. We're all going to draw better houses. We're all going to make more money. And the guys didn't think that way. They didn't want to give up any of their money to us. So there was always something going on there. Which was evident when they took and separated us. And, so working tag team matches. They started making, us work single matches. Right. And it wasn't long after that when we wound up leaving.
And where did you go from there?
And then Memphis, I think we went home for a little while. And then, Memphis was 78, I think. The next territory I went to Bill Watts' territory in Oklahoma. Hulk went to Atlanta. And used to live at the Falcon's Rest. You know that name? But and that was the famous spot where all the boys lived. It was like a little hotel. A little lady kind of ran it, looked after all the boys. Heck of a spot. And
how did you get along with Bill Watts?
I got along with him. I mean, actually, one time we were going to the airport, some fan, this lady had, without my knowledge, stuck a pair of brass knucks in my bag. And I was going through the airport and one day with them, and my bag went through the machine, and also security, man, people were running, and the blue lights and everything was. And they were ready to arrest me. I had no idea there was brass knucks in my bag. And because Watts was so well known, he was able to calm everybody down and just, they just tossed them in the garbage can and then we kept going. But I mean, he had a great territory going there. Gino Hernandez, Stan Hansen, DiBiase, Pork Chops Cash. And, I mean, there was a huge amount of guys working through that territory. They had a great territory going. They did their TV in Shreveport, Louisiana. And they wound up putting me with Buck Robley, who was a complete screw-up. And all he did was go from horse track to horse track all over the state and in between wrestling matches. And they put me with him. So it was a little bit difficult for me to get to the gym and get decent food. We didn't even stay in hotels that time. We slept in a car. And basically I got the shit beat out of me. Pork Chops Cash spiked me on my shoulder, separated my shoulder. Mike, what's his name? The guy from that was in the New York territory. He used to always take showers.
Oh, Mike Sharp.
Mike Sharp, Iron Mike Sharp. He was in the territory, and Mike Sharp kind of befriended me and allowed me to stay at his apartment because I had nowhere to go because I couldn't work for a couple of weeks while I recouped, and they helped me out. Ivan Koloff was in the territory. Ivan was a super nice guy. I just ran into him recently, and I told him, I said, I'll never forget when these guys were beating the shit out of me. Gino Hernandez was one of them. They just took advantage of me. I was just, I guess, happened to a lot of guys. I mean, that's, I guess, the way of discouraging people, making you pay your dues. Well, buddy, I paid my dues. I suffered a lot of injuries and a lot of pain at the expense of those guys taking advantage of me as a young guy. And finally, I was having trouble working because I couldn't get to the gym. I had no money at all. I didn't have an apartment, didn't have a vehicle, and basically I was in the world of trouble. And I got a call from Hulkster, and he's like, "Well, what's going on down there?" I said, "Get me out of here, because otherwise I'm done. Because they're going to kill me. They're going to just beat me to death. I'm not going to, I'll be injured to the point I won't be able to even work. And so he said, okay, go to the airport and there'll be a ticket for you. So when I had talked to him, I gave Watts a notice. I always gave a 2-week notice. So I gave him my notice. And right before it was the last TV, right before I was going to leave, they came to me and said, oh, we want you to stay another 2 or 3 weeks, whatever, until they get another TV so they could job me out and just, boom, one more time. And I said, sorry, but I can't. I gave my notice the way you're supposed to, and I'm leaving. So Watts gave me the screw job, kept my money. So basically I had nothing, no money in my pocket.
He always withheld pay 2 weeks, right? From what I hear.
Yeah, they had some funny things going on there. Yeah, they really screwed me. I mean, they never had any money, hardly. They paid me nothing.
Before you move on from the Mid-South, Gino Hernandez died of a cocaine overdose.
Yeah.
Some people were saying they believe he was murdered because it was found in his stomach. Do you believe anything like that, or do you think it was just...
He had a serious drug problem. He was partying. I mean, like animals, intense, crazy partying, drinking, alcohol, the whole thing. I don't think so. I think if anything, karma. I believe in big time. And if anything, karma caught up with him. And the last night I was in the territory, I'll never forget this either. I was in Jackson, Mississippi. And I was trying to get to the airport. We worked my last show. It was pouring down rain, and it was one of the guys I had been with. What was his name? He was a big black guy. He was an ex-football player. I can't remember his name. He had been helping me out, and I went to DiBiase. I went to St. Hanson. I went to all the guys to get a ride to the airport. And those guys all lived there. And nobody would even bother, And so he had, I guess, his girlfriend. So I wound up jumping in a car with like 4 black chicks in a Camaro or something. My bags in there. And they drove me to the airport. And I got on a plane and got the hell out of there. And it was like, that was the greatest day of my life. Because that was the biggest nightmare. And Junkyard Dog was there, Jake was there. I mean, they had a hell of a territory. Grizzly, Jake's father or whatever. I mean, it was a crazy good territory. No doubt about it. The Watts, knew how to run a territory and they made money. Boy, I suffered at their expense. But it was a good learning exercise. I learned a lot, and after that, I began to know how to take care of myself, and I wouldn't be taken advantage of on that scale ever again.
And you mentioned Jake. You want to just give me your thoughts on Jake? Because I'm sure.
Back then, Jake was crazy, good worker, and he wasn't on the crack pipe like back in those days. I mean, everybody drank, and I just whatever, snorting and pills, and then they're doing whatever they're doing. And but Jake, back then, I remember his interviews and his work was unbelievable. He was one of the guys that I looked to, try to imitate, and learn from. Ivan Koloff too. He used to take me to eat out, somewhere to eat, and take me to the gym whenever we run into each other. We'd be in the same town or something, because he knew I was floundering.
And just while we're still on your early days a bit, superstar Billy Graham, obviously Hulk Hogan looked up to him a lot. That was one of his idols when he was younger. What did you think of Billy Graham growing up in Florida?
Well, Billy, I met him. I used to watch him all the time in Florida. Again, one of those guys, Florida was a big territory. A lot of guys came in there. And Hulk and I would go meet Billy. And so I would watch him work out in the gym. I remember he was just huge, massive. And he would take us down to the local buffet. It's called Morrison Cafeterias, and treat us to a meal. You know, it was like back then it was probably like $7, and you know, and it was just all you could eat. You get a big tray this big, and you go down the line, boom, 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 and you just keep coming back, you know. And I guess we were short on cash those days.
Is it true that he helped Hulk get booked, particularly when he was kind of being blackballed in Florida? Helped him get booked in Alabama the first time?
I really don't know for sure. I mean, there was definitely a couple of people that made calls to help us get that at Pensacola, Alabama. The Fullers, the Welshes, Louis Tillett, that make most people laugh when they hear that. Iron Mike McCord was one of the guys that was there in Florida.
And when did you actually start calling yourself Brutus Beefcake? Were you ever that before WWE?
No, that never happened until late '83, early '84.
Okay. Were you ever in the AWA?
Oh yeah.
How did you end up in that? You want to tell us about your AWA experience?
Well, okay. Got a call from Vern Gagne. It was 1980, 81. He'd already been to New York once. And while he was there, I was with him for a short time. And at the TVs in Allentown and Hamburg. And Pat Patterson wanted to job me out on TV like Steve Lombardi. He wanted to turn me into another Steve Lombardi. And basically helped us. No. And somebody made a call for me. And they sent me out to Oregon for a year. I went out to Oregon and for Don Owen. And it was just a good learning territory. It was the first place that Kurt Hennig had ever began working. And Kurt's father came out there and worked with Stan Stasiak was out there, David Schultz, Buddy Rose, Matt Bourne, Dutch Savage was the booker. It was a great learning territory. You work every night. You know, you begin to start doing you're doing TV every week. You start doing the interviews. You begin to learn. It was there when I first began to really start learning a little bit about really how to work and being aware of the crowd, and not just being like out there in the ring, just totally oblivious, struggling and everything. I began to find myself out there a little bit, and I really made some real big gains there.
So you mentioned the older days of WWE where Hogan would have been Sterling.
Gold.
So you were around in WWE that day. You want to talk about your first?
Well, I didn't. I came in from that Louisiana territory with a bad shoulder and probably about 220 pounds that I hadn't trained in months, and with no food and no apartment nor to stay. So I came in Hulk. In those days, you drove, and back in Memphis, we had. Hulk had bought a big green Lincoln Continental, and that's what we drove in Memphis. And we still had that car in New York. So we loaded up the car every day. We went to the gym every morning. We had a big cooler in the back. We filled it full of food and waters. And back then it wasn't even real beer. We weren't drinking beer like on trips or anything like that. We had yogurts, milk, sandwiches, food in the cooler. And down there, we drove. We lived in Connecticut, and we drove to Baltimore, to Philly, to Scranton, Pennsylvania, to Harrisburg, to New Hampshire, to Portland, Maine. All the trips were in a car. Occasionally, they did run some farther away towns, but then they'd fly the guys. But I was just there at that point, and not really working, just driving. The wheelman for Hulk and recovering, getting back in shape, getting ready. And occasionally somebody wouldn't show up, so they'd throw me into a match. In those days, they used to pay cash every night. Arnie Skoll would come to the dressing room, pay the first, second, third, pay the matches, pay the matches. And I remember one night I had Hartford, Connecticut, or Springfield, somewhere. I had worked the first or second match, and had the match came back, and Skolin came in and handed me like $400 or $500. And I was like, oh my God, this is more than they made in months for a match. And I, tucked it away. And Hulkster said, hey, what would they give you? I said, he gave me $500. He went, he said, oh my God, don't let any of the other guys know that they gave you that much. Because like Johnny Rods and guys like that, Jose, Puerto Rican guys, the regular crew guys that were working the under matches got about $200 a night. So they gave me $500. Why, I have no idea, but boom, I was like, oh my God. And then, so once I got back in shape, I think I went to Charlotte, North Carolina, for a short stint, and then it was after that Hulk was working for Vince. He was going to Japan. He got to go to Japan, going back and forth. Sylvester Stallone contacted Hulk by telegram. It was called the office and everything. Wanted him to do that bit in Rocky III. Well, Vince Sr., there was no crossover from the entertainment business, the movies, and they hated wrestling, and wrestling hated them. And there was no crossover. Vince just said, absolutely under no circumstances will Hulk go to do this movie. And I mean, Stone tried everything. Finally, somebody hand-delivered at Madison Square Gardens a telegram from Sylvester Stallone to him. And he got it, and he made the call, talked to him, and he went to Vince, and Vince fired him on the spot. And at that time, I was working in Nashville. Me and Hector Guerrero were living in his trailer park. And Terry flew to Nashville, stopped in to see us, and then went on out, did the bit for Rocky, which, once that came out, that changed everything. Boom, all of a sudden, bam. That's when Vern Gagne called him, and then that's when Terry called me, said, hey, I worked for Vern Gagne, come home to Florida, flew home to Florida, packed up a car, and I drove by myself to Minneapolis with the car, and then he wound up flying in after that, and then boom, we had an apartment. We lived in an apartment, and I was working as Dizzy Golden or something like that. I think Dizzy Ed Bold or something like that. And
is that something you came up with, or is that?
Well, we were the Boulder brothers.
Yeah.
Then when they split us up, and Terry was working in Atlanta, they called him Sterling Golden, and they were calling me Dizzy Golden. And then when I left there, stuff, and Terry Funk was calling me Dizzy, so that name kind of stuck, and so everybody called me Dizzy Ed, Dizzy, whatever, and then eventually the next territory was Dizzy Hogan, because everybody still was convinced that we were brothers. And but I mean, it was a logical assumption. Two gigantic blonde hair, mustache, big thing, mustache, big monster guys. You didn't really look alike at all, but
How did you get along with Vern?
I never really spent a lot of time with him. Terry was with him a lot more than me. Greg, his son, wanted to hang out with Terry. I was there, and obviously I was an obstacle. And Terry wasn't going to have anything to do with Greg. He was a nerdy looking guy, great, good wrestler, he could wrestle, but he was never going to be a New York, Madison Square Garden caliber wrestler. I mean, he did with the super push and beating. This guy weighed maybe 190 pounds or something. Beating guys 6'6", 290, 320 pounds. Because he's the office. And established. And he was jealous of me, and then next thing you know, I was gone. And I went back to Pensacola. But in the meantime, Hulkster was doing well. He had that real American, red, white, and blue thing going. He was finding his niche, coming out with a flag and thing, and getting this, developing that character, which he was able to just turn over right into the red and yellow Hulk Hogan gimmick when he hit New York.
Were you shocked that he became as big as he did eventually, or did you always know, even from the early days?
Well, definitely not shocked, but I mean, there's always, everywhere we went, for years and years, there was always an aura about the both of us. Everywhere we went, we took the room over. We walk in a room, we dominated it. The space, wherever we were, it didn't matter where it was, and so I knew at that point, something's going to happen. It's hard to know how huge it's going to get, WrestleMania and all that kind of stuff, and then as big as it became. But we worked hard to get where we were at, and never slacked off. Never just said, I'm going to take 6 months off and lay on the beach and do some shit like that. No, it was just bang, bang, hard at it all the time. And Terry was smart about the business in that way. He had some help from people and stuff along the way, and he was able to, sharpen that pencil down, hone that persona down, and then, Vern Gagne tried to put him under his thumb. He had Nick Bucknell was the champion. He also had a deal in Japan. He was going to Japan for 4 weeks, 40,000 cash for every 4 weeks back in 1980. 40, 50 grand cash was a lot of money, and Vern basically told him, okay, you're not going to Japan anymore. You're going to be our champion. You're going to make X amount of dollars and blah, blah, blah. And then that's when Vince Sr. died. Cable television was born, Atlanta, Channel 17, WR from New York, and now a channel of TV was going around the whole country. And then that's when Junior jumped right in the thing there and wound up contacting Hulk and said, hey, come to New York and I'll make you a superstar of all superstars. And boom, and that's what he did. Brought him in, wrestled the sheep, boom, 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 over 30 seconds. Boom, dropped the leg on the sheet. Bang, Hulkamania was born. And it was a whole new era, a type of, Terry always had that, he was a musician, and and had that charisma and had that ability to get people's attention and keep it. And so he was able to capitalize on that with that type of push that Vince was giving. There was nothing that he couldn't do. Anything he wanted to do, the sky was the limit. And with those kind of tools, it's a little easier to do it. The people are scratching and clawing the thing. Once if you're handed the keys to the safe or to the big vault where all the gold is, and they say go crazy, well, hey, that's definitely. Then there's nothing standing in your way. You're the only thing standing in your way. And he was smart. And, he ran full charged in there and took advantage of every break that Vince was offering him. And he was smart. And he did better than anybody ever could have. The wildest imagination could have imagined. And it began the era of rock and wrestling. Now musicians, Hollywood, everybody jump back now because we're drawing huge crowds, and we got their attention. Now all of a sudden, they wanted to get involved with us, and it was a whole new era. MTV, VH1, MTV, Saturday night's main event, Dick Ebersol, NBC, everything, putting us on live TV on Saturday nights, just changed the whole way people looked at wrestling.
So was it Hogan that brought you into WWE the second time?
I was in between. I think I was in between territories. I was in Charlotte. I left Charlotte. Was on my way home. Stopped into Philadelphia where he was wrestling, and because he was in the first 6 months of after he beat Sheik, and probably 3 months after he beat Sheik, and he was in a program with Big John Studd. And Big John Studd was supposed to go overseas and wrestle Otto Vance. Otto was like Vern's champion at one time, and he was a European champion. A huge guy, 6'1", 450 pounds, or 420 pounds, or whatever. I mean, and a huge guy. And they needed a substitute to send over to wrestle Otto in his finale of this big tournament. Every year they have a bunch of guys come over to Germany, they tour, and the finale is a big show in Graz, his hometown. He was the mayor of the town. And so they needed somebody to send. They didn't want to send Slaughter, they didn't want to send any of their top guys, because I mean, also the whole territory was on fire. Hogan had everything, everybody going nuts. Everywhere there was a show, sold out every night. So Vince didn't want to pull any of his top guys. So Hogan said, well, send Dizzy. So from God knows why, they did. So I went over there to wrestle Otto, had a hell of a match. People said it was the best match they'd ever seen him at. He wrestled all the biggest guys in the business, but mostly he didn't do much. I was young, smaller, but a lot more agile, a lot more able to do stuff. And at the end of the day, after the match, Otto called Vince and said, if you don't put this kid to work right now, then you're stupid. You know, he's a good hand. So that phone call, basically, they said, as soon as you get back from Austria, come to New York. And we'll figure out something. And so I went, met with Vince, Linda, and Hulkster, and I sat down in the office, started cooking up a character.
And that's when you came up with Brutus Beefcake.
Well, Linda came up with this name, Beefcake. They had Baron Mike Sapona. She was like a top hat and tuxedo look, and that's kind of the way she was thinking. A beefcake character, good looking, kind of male stripper kind of like character, but that's not the way they were looking at it, really. And we fished for a name. We went around and around and around and around, and finally Hulk says, well, Brutus, like, I'll buy him Brutus. And they were like, yeah. And I was sitting in the room, like, right there, and this is 84, the very, very beginning of 84. I've already been in the business 7 years, and now this is going to be my big break in New York, Madison Square Gardens, and eventually going worldwide. And I couldn't even say the word Brutus Beefcake almost without laughing. I mean, it was just ridiculous, crazy, comical. Like, oh my God, I was about to cry. I was like, I'm getting my big break. This is it, in the business, and my name is going to be Brutus Beefcake. I said, the people are going to laugh me out of the arena. And Hulk's like, oh, wait, don't worry about it. I got a plan. I got an idea. So, boom, split, went to Florida, went to see this guy made clothes for rock and roll bands, made clothes for Cher, made clothes for Jimi Hendrix. Cutting edge guy, way ahead of his time. Made all Hulk's clothes for his bands for years. Sat down, cooked up this kind of like male stripper looking beefcake with a bow tie, with these vests, these armbands, all spandex, animal prints, different colors, wild pink, fuchsia, blue, all this stuff. I dropped probably 30 pounds, lean way out. The last time any of these people saw me, I had long blonde hair and a beard. Shaved that beard off, cut my hair short, just like it is right now, same color, basically just like this. Walked into the office with this outfit on, and Vince fell out of his chair. He says, oh my God, how can this not make money? Because the gimmick it was good. And I went to the first TV in Poughkeepsie, New York, showed up real early. The only people there was the agents, Arnie Skolin and some of the guys. I think George Steele was there, maybe Catherine Liu. I walked in, introduced myself as Brutus Beefcake. Nobody had a clue. Nobody was privy to this whole gimmick. None of it. Who I was. I sat there for 6 hours in the dressing room. Fuji, all the boys, just sitting in the corner. Yeah, Brutus Beefcake. Finally, George Steele figured it out. He's sitting there staring at me, and he just yells, "Who the fuck are you?" And it's me, Dizzy. Because everybody had known me as Dizzy Hogan as Dizzy. And it's like fucking Fuji jumped up out of his chair, because he's the master of all the ribs. And looked at me and went, "You son of a bitch." And he just started chasing me around the dresser, and everybody was cracking up. It was hilarious. Fooled everybody. Nobody had a clue. And after that, and at that point, then it was like freaking everybody was all freaking going wild and shit. And then that's when I started going out to the ring and just walking around the ring. And that's how we started it.
And you were pretty successful as a singles heel. You wrestled Hogan in numerous main events. How did you end up becoming a tag team after that singles run?
Well, I did really well as a single. I mean, everybody who wrestled Hulk during this time period pretty much sold out. But we did have really good matches, which is, that's important too. I mean, we not only were selling out buildings, 20, 25,000 seat arenas, weeks in advance, And, there'd be 1,000 people outside the arenas on show night trying to buy tickets, scout tickets, just trying to get in there. It was insane, the amount of people. And Greg Valentine was at the time, I don't know if he was the Intercontinental Champion or was working with Tito or something. And just by chance, I really don't even know why, George Scott had taken over the book, and he was a good friend of Greg's. I didn't know him at all. And for some reason, just by accident, they wound up putting Greg and I together in some tag matches for some smaller shows, because they had something that happened. Somebody had quit, somebody got hurt, or something. I don't know exactly what happened. And because of Greg's style, second generation, big, tough, rough and tough wrestler. My style, glitter, shine, stuff, strutting out there, male stripper, completely two different entities. A lot of times in the tag team, you think you want two similar guys. And that was the thinking. So by putting Greg and I together in the ring, sometimes opposites attract. We wound up having really good matches. And we wound up we had a ton of heat as heels. Greg, not so much. I mean, we had just the steady rock, but I was a flamboyant, great, just going crazy. And it was the beginning of that era when people actually began to like the bad guys, because it was always, the good guys. If you cheered for the bad guys, there'd be fights breaking out in the stands. For the people start cheering the bad guys, they'd go beat them up. And when Greg and I got together, it was a period in the business when people began to like the heels. They liked them because we were tough and good looking, and dressed crazy good, and we wrestled, and we had it all going. And the people began to cheer us. The baby faces we were wrestling, the Killer Bees, and the Rougeos and all these guys. We pounded them. We didn't give them nothing, and the people loved it, and they loved us even more. And the heels getting over, and the people, and I guess they caught on to this whole deal. They saw what's going on, and then I guess that's when somebody got the idea to put the put the tag team belts on us.
And you're probably one of your most famous matches of the tag team is actually when you lost the belts at WrestleMania 2 to the British Bulldogs. What did you think of the Bulldogs as a team and for their backstage antics that are kind of notorious?
The Bulldogs, when we won the belts, we were supposed to win them in Rotundo for the belts. They were going to chase us for a year. That was George Scott's plan. Well, Barry Windham quit the next day. So now we were scrambling. We had no opponents. You had the Bulldogs, but they were green. They were young. They looked good, but they weren't the caliber of a tag team that we really needed. And so we worked with the other guys, the Killer Bees and other guys and that guys and everything. But they saw something in the Bulldogs, so we kind of took them under our wing. We worked with the Bulldogs and brought them along and really schooled those guys and turned them into a good tag team. But that was still a big mistake. That WrestleMania 2, beating us WrestleMania 2 was a big, huge mistake. The Bulldogs were a good tag team, but they still couldn't talk. You had to have a manager do all their talking. And they weren't ready for the push. And at that time, it was way better to have the heels with the belt, and they could chase us around, beat us every night, but if the championships are on the line, they could get their hands raised every night in disqualification, whatever it is, and we run out with our tails between our legs, but we got the belts. And it only made the people even more want to see us get our asses kicked. And it was about money. This was all about money. They put the belts on the Bulldogs, the belts freaking died. Big, huge mistake.
And you continued teaming with Greg for about a year until WrestleMania 3, which is when you first, I guess, became the Barber. Do you want to tell us what led to the office deciding to break you guys up and turn you into this guy?
They didn't really. George Scott was still probably there, and then they didn't really tell me anything. We had began to do some angles and things leading into the WrestleMania, something where Martel and Adrian Adonis were in the ring together, and Adrian was actually my partner, and Martel and Zink or somebody were in the ring. Supposedly Adrian was going to try to cut Martel's hair, but Martel did a quick switch in the corner. Adrian was looking away, and Adrian came back, started cutting away on. It was me. And then started like a little feud between me and Adrian. Adrian was in a hair match with Piper, had been in an angle with Piper, and had the big blowout. Boom. I go down, help Piper win the match. Piper sends me the Clippers, said, okay, you cut his hair. I had no knowledge of anything really going to happen there. I just, this is what we're doing. Went down there, cut his hair. We had a couple days off after WrestleMania, came back to Rochester, New York, to the War Memorial. Walked in, they handed me this white coat, a little thing with a scissor and a comb in it. I said, now you're the Barber. I said, what do you mean, now I'm the Barber? You're the Barber. I said, fuck, are you crazy? That's bullshit. Brutus Beefcake's on fire. Since when do you change a guy's gimmick who's freaking like a top guy is on fire on the territory? Why would you change it to some crazy thing like the Barber? A hair match is something you do once a year or once in a career. And they gave me no direction, told me nothing about what's going to happen. I went nuts. I went in, the War Memorial was an old building. I went down a hallway, found a room where nobody was in, and started beating everything I could find, slamming chairs, smashing, kicking the lockers, going crazy. I was ready to quit. I was so mad. I was just thought, I don't deserve this kind of treatment. That's not what you do to somebody who works so hard to do everything you ever ask of them, never miss a day's work, never be a problem, no drugs, no alcohol, no problems, and then you screw them. You're going to give them a gimmick and then no direction, and Hulkster somebody said, "You better go get Beefcake. He's going crazy." And he came in, and I said, "You know what?" He said, "What's going on?" I said, "This is Pat Patterson. After all these years now, he's getting his revenge on me because you wouldn't let me be the job guy Lombardi that he wanted me to be, another blunt boy for him. And now they're screwing me." I said, where are we gonna go? Seriously, the Barber thing. You know as well as I do. Now, haircut matches, when the guy was leaving the territory, you'd see a U-Haul in the parking lot in the old days in Alabama and the territories. And the guy who was leaving the territory got his haircut, took his wife, got in his U-Haul, and drove down the road. And everybody knew it. So what are we going to do with this haircut thing? And Hulk, I don't know, he came out and pulled a rabbit out of his hat. He says, "Well, what if every time you go to the ring, you use the sleeper hold like Piper did, use that sleeper hold." Somebody really was using it as a real finish. Use the sleeper hold every time you cut somebody's hair. And I was like, that might work. There's only one man who made that possible. If I would have went to the office guys and said, "Okay, here's what we're going to do. Every time I go to the ring, you have to pay somebody $200 or $300 so I can cut their hair and blah, blah, blah." We might have worked one or two TVs, and then we got brushed aside, and I would just put another guy out there wrestling. Hulk went back to Vince, and here's what we got to do. Boom, 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 boom. Then I had the balls in my court, so I had to switch gears, make up some new gear, change it up a little bit. I thought of the clippers, getting the big clippers. So I went out in crowds, 30,000 Madison Square Gardens, with a pair of scissors in my hand. And it's about visual thing. Those people in the top row, they can't see these little scissors in my hand. So I came up with the idea of the big hedge clippers and taped them up and shit, coming out with these big hedge clippers, a barber, and I had spray paint and glitter and this and that, like mirrors, and I cut people's hair and show them the mirror, their head, half their head shaved off, and then paint with this hairspray painted, colors painted, a big B on their chest, and the people went nuts. They loved it. It's never been done anything remotely like that before. And because we just kept hammering every week, I would beat them, down they go in the sleeper, chop, and humiliate them with the things on them, showing them the hair, the whole thing. And then it wound up turning into something bigger than Vince or anybody ever even imagined. Why? I blow my own horn here a little bit. Nobody told me what to do. I was the ingredient plugged into the situation, giving the ball like the running back, brother, on the freaking 5 yards deep in the end zone. And okay, haul last, because we got to have a touchdown or the game's over. Brutus haul ass and made a touchdown. Fucking boom, there it was. Freaking home run, grand slam.
And one of your main feuds as Brutus the Barber Beefcake was with the Macho Man. You want to tell us your thoughts on the Macho Man and feuding with him because you drew some great crowds.
Macho Man, great hand. He was very temperamental. His wife, married to Liz, just he was so hard to read. Just very difficult sometimes to work with. Well, always a good hand. You just never know what you're going to get with him. And so it was tough. But you're always guaranteed. You're always going to have great physical interviews, physically in the ring. It's all good. You're going to have tremendous matches. But he was just a little unpredictable, and stuff like that.
What did you think about his relationship with Elizabeth?
Well, I knew, he was married. I mean, I witnessed night after night him locking her in locker rooms. Didn't want any of the boys to be around her. Actually locked her in there. She just had to sit in the locker room by herself. and he locked the door. I mean, he was so paranoid, he didn't want anybody to see her. And and it was almost laughable. It was almost a joke with the boys, but he was serious. I mean, dead serious about it, and everybody else was like, whatever. But, but Mach was crazy. I mean, there was a point where I had to fill in for Hulk in some shows that he was supposed to do wrestling, Macho Man. I remember Indianapolis, that big dome in Indianapolis, sold out show, and Hulk couldn't be there, and they replaced me, plugged me into the equation there, and I mean, you're talking about 25, check the dome, wherever it was, that dome. Hoosier Dome, 25, 30,000 people, whatever. Not a single person wanted their money back. I slid right into the Hulk Hogan spot, wrestled Macho Man there. And that was a big ego booster for me, because going in there, I didn't know what to expect. Are there going to be 5,000 people saying, we want our money back. We don't want to see Beefcake. I was so hot. Things were going so good. The character was on fire. Slid right into the spot on several occasions in different places around the country. Wrestled Macho Man, boom, 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 and that was an indicator to them too. Then after that, that's when they pretty much decided to put the Intercontinental belt on me. And Warrior was in the mix at that point. And then,
what's your opinion on the Ultimate Warrior? And do you think you could have had a run about the level of his success had they put the title on you and given you that same push?
Oh, absolutely. I was going to get the IC belt. It was already, the pay-per-view was all set up. Basically, he threw a temper tantrum, threatened to quit. Vince was looking at him as his new Hulk Hogan, and so changed the whole pay-per-view at the last second to plug in Warrior, beats Honky Tonk in 15 seconds. Ridiculous. I knew the Warrior when he first broke in and came to the territory. Nice guy, good guy. It all went to his head, and he became unreachable. He couldn't interview. He'd be up there going, the skies. It didn't make any sense. He'd blow himself up so bad he could hardly work. Everybody hated working with him. And, it's my opinion that he never even reached the level of success that I had. Anywhere, anytime. The guy couldn't work. He never could. I don't think he could lace up half the guy's boots. Now, I'm not trying to dog the guy's dead now, but that's the bare bones truth about it. The guy's a lot more talent and full package than he ever had. Vince just was determined to push him, as was that when he beat Hogan in Toronto, and the people booed him. Hogan went on there handing the belt, and the people were booing the Warrior out of the place. I was standing there watching it. And she figured I would have, gave him an indication, but it didn't matter. He was going with the Warrior, and that was it.
And what's your opinion of Ric Flair?
Well, I like Rick. Knew him since our early days in the business. Was always real nice to me. And then later on, I guess he wrote a book. In his book, he said I was Hulk Hogan's lackey, that I didn't deserve a push, that I was just a hang around. And the only reason I got anywhere in the business is because Hulk Hogan made everybody give me a job. And he said this in his book. And I was shocked when somebody came in and showed me this. And because I never had a problem with Rick. And why, I don't know, he would say these things, because I made my own way as a single wrestler, and then as a tag team, then as a single again, and as a heel with a baby face, so I didn't need anybody to give me anything. I earned it with blood and sweat and tears. Earned it, and at this point, I lost respect for him. be cordial and say hi to him, but I lost all respect for him at that point. You know, when a man's going to try to further his career by putting me down, I'd never write a book and say, oh, Devin, geez, you know, oh, he was really a dick. He's kind of an asshole, you know, and try to make myself look better by putting you down. I do the opposite. I said, really, you know, guys like Devin, holy cow, what I had. Unbelievable. I had great matches with these guys. I bring everybody up. Bring yourself up. Don't go the other way. Don't put everybody down. Try to make yourself look better by telling everybody else is a slouch and you're the greatest that ever was, you know. Another guy went to his head, you know, and that's evident now.
Hey, did you get along with Bret Hart?
Oh, yeah. You know, I spent the night at the Hart home, Stu's house, stayed at Bret's house with his family, spent countless nights with Davey Boy Smith and his family. You know, the Harts, a big part of my life there, the Bulldogs, for many years. And, you know, great people, nice people.
And you were also a Mega Maniacs tag team with Hulk Hogan. I guess the peak of that was your WrestleMania 9 match with Money Incorporated. You also teamed up to face Zeus and Macho Man. But are you disappointed that they didn't do more with that tag team? It was kind of at the end point of Hulk Hogan's first WWE run.
Yeah, there was so much going on. The office changing there. I think the big Samoan kid, Yoko. You know, they were bringing, you know, Yoko. There was a bunch of new guys in the Undertaker, a guy that was down south in Texas working. That Hulkster got him a shot, and there was a lot of new talent running around. Things were happening different. I mean, the tag team definitely could have went on and on. No doubt about that. Things were changing. Hulk was getting ready to start filming a television series in Florida, and at that point, I was going to double him and do all the stunt work and photo double and everything for him for this TV movie and 20 episodes and on, this movie, that movie, this movie, that movie. And once we had left the territory, and then basically Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels and came in, you know, on our coattails, picked up where we left off, and we're able to, you know, capitalize on these things. And you know, they stole a lot of our shit, but that's the way it works in our business. You take the best of whatever you can, and you make it your own. You know, and so there's no. I'm not mad. I'm not upset about anybody having success. I want everybody to do good. You know, everybody does the better they do, the better we all do, the more money we all make, the happier we all are. It's a good world.
So you mentioned Shawn Michaels. You were part of one of the most famous moments, I guess, in WWE history when Shawn Michaels super kicked Marty Jannetty through the barbershop window, which led to him becoming the star that he did. Do you have any memories of that?
Yeah, I liked Marty. I liked them. We worked a lot with those. They were kids. Greg and I were, you know, first working with those guys. You know, they were just a couple of mid-card kids. You know, and we tried to help them, bring them along, teach them, and then Marty. I thought Marty was really as good a worker as Shawn back then, or better, you know, psychology-wise. And I hated to see them break up because Marty obviously went off and, you know, into nothingness, and Shawn went on to be the world champion with huge success. And, you know, he definitely stole a little bit of the outfit, the clothes thing from me, and, you know, stole a little bit from Hulk. You know, took things from everybody and to make his persona and thing. But Marty was a great guy too, and Marty fell into nothingness, and a nice guy wound up, you know, being out in the world now, broke, you know, and penniless.
And you want to just tell us about your time in WCW? Obviously, they probably paid you well, but they were known as a kind of a disorganized company, and you went through probably the most amount of gimmicks of any wrestler in the shortest time period in history. Do you want to tell us about the time period? And also, were there any of those gimmicks that you actually preferred? Was there one particular one that you liked?
Beefcake is definitely my favorite. It's definitely the biggest of all. The problem with that time frame was that WWE trademarked my name, and technically I trademarked my name and licensed it to them, but they were somehow able to obtain a trademark on my name, and they were keeping me from being able to use my name. So we had to go outside the box and think up these man with no name, the Butcher, the Booty Man, the Zodiac, and then the Disciple, the NWO. The NWO changed the whole face of wrestling. Once again, guys, coming in, taking over with a great idea, challenging the business, challenging everybody, doing things that nobody ever thought could have been done. I don't think I was really ever used to the potential I could have been used for. There was a lot of things going on there. Guys in the office, people in certain people's ear, Eric Bischoff running the business. Whatever qualified this guy to really be running a multi-million-dollar company and being in charge of this kind of talent. I never saw any indication, period, what qualified him to be doing it. But there he was, and he had his little clique of guys that that he hung with, and certain guys were taken care of. And I was fired. I got fired twice by fax to my house. Oh, you're fired. I've been on the phone. Hulk Hogan, hey, come over, let's work out. It's like, all right, I'll be in a little while. Oh yeah, by the way, got fired again today. What? Yeah. Oh, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. Boom. It was, but it's a little disconcerting to your family. Like your wife. I've come home to find my wife laying on the floor, crying, kicking and screaming because the fact says you're fired. I just built my house up, spent a lot of money, invested money, and everything, and relied on my job to keep my family. I had a daughter, keep my family going, and now so just like out of nowhere, you're fired for no reason. So those were difficult times, but it doesn't kill you; it makes you stronger.
Just two more questions here. The parasailing accident. You want to just give us the brief explanation of what happened there?
Had the open wear stole my Continental title shot from me. I would have never been there. It would have never happened. But 4th of July, on the day off, Brian Blair was there, Killer Bee, my friend's lake house, doing some skiing, boating, parasailing. I was in the wrong spot at the wrong instant and was struck in the face by a girl being pulled in the parachute harness. When you're in a parachute harness, your knees are together, you sit in this thing and the parachute here, and you go up in the air. She got dragged by the boat. I was trying to stop the guy driving the boat from going, but he went anyway and basically dragged her right over the top of me. I turned to look where she was precisely when she was starting to come off the ground, and her knees struck me, one right here in the teeth and one in this cheekbone. Her legs were together, and at 35 miles an hour. And it hit me so hard it disintegrated my face, structured my face, and put me in critical condition for days, and I never expected to live.
But you survived and you were
by the grace of God, the best palate reconstructive surgeon in the world, a guy from Armenia, just happened to be working and living in the locally in the area, and was contacted and at the hospital within hours of this accident happening, took over and basically saved my life, and was able to do a surgery of 18 hours, 5 or 6 different teams of doctors, surgeons that had to repair the damage. I was blind.
Right.
Optic nerve damage, I was blind. The first team of doctors came in, worked for 5 hours, tried to save my vision. And another team of doctors came in, checked about neurological damage, my brain bleeding, was it hemorrhaging. Then another team of doctors came in, the ear, nose, and throat people. My sinus cavities were crushed. Your sinus cavities are like little hollow areas inside of your skull, very delicate. Without being able to look at a 3D rendering of it, you really know what sinus cavities are. They're all throughout your face. And then these people had to come in and figure out a way to rebuild, to remake my sinus cavities. They were all crushed. And this doctor operated with a microscope on his head, took bone from my skull, took that bone, and was able, with strips of titanium, super strong, very light, very small strips of titanium, screws and wire, and remake my face. First peeled my face completely off, cut me from ear to ear, peeled my face off from the front, peeled the back. Was able to remake my facial structure around my eye orbits. I don't know what they made my nose out of, but it feels just like my real nose. My nose was disintegrated. And put it all back together. Jaws wired shut 4 months. My jaws wired. I had a steel bolt right through my nose for about a month and a half or 2 months. And somehow it all, they said, never recover, never wrestle again, never ride a motorcycle again, never ski, never do anything. They really didn't expect me to survive, but they said my life as I knew it was over with. I completely was able to come back 100% and prove everything that they had anticipated and expected to happen, and been able to just excel and succeed and be normal, have a life. And they said life as I knew it was over. I could have been in a wheelchair, with no hope of ever doing anything, getting paralyzed and neck down or whatever.
And how do you want to be remembered in the wrestling business?
Well, I think, the way I'm remembered now, people the other day talking about on Facebook how Brutus Beefcake's never been pinned in WrestleMania. It's not a bad. Hulk Hogan's been pinned. Everybody else you could name probably has been pinned in WrestleMania. I've never been pinned in WrestleMania. As far as I'm concerned, WWE, I went out on top. Winning a match in WrestleMania 9, so we actually won the belts, but they took the belts away from us, didn't give us the belts, even though we won the match, won the belts. We were leaving the territory, so they took the belts away and made an excuse, said it was a disqualification or something. Didn't matter, but went out on top. And how much better can you ask for than that?
And then you went on to do the barbershop, which was pretty cool. And for the absolute final question, do you have a message that you want to tell your fans, and particularly your German fans who are big fans of this channel?
Oh, I love Germany. I'm German. I'm German Scottish. So that makes sense. I just want to tell the fans I'm grateful to the McMahon family and that I was given the opportunities that I was given and able to succeed and use the talents that God gave me to become a huge worldwide success. I can go anywhere on this planet and people know me. So that's not a bad thing, and people are nice to me. People don't run up, hey, you're an asshole. People come up, oh my God, it's Brutus, the Barber Beefcake, oh my God. And they're excited and I'm able to reach out to people and change and touch people's lives, millions and millions of people. That's more than I ever dreamed in my wildest imagination that I would ever be able to accomplish. So I think that's pretty cool.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates. Support us on patreon.com for $1.99 a month to watch our full shoot interviews ad-free and help our channel grow. Follow us on Twitter at the Hannibal TV for instant updates.